Welcome to WQLN PBS Homeroom. My name is Miss Brittany, and one reason I love to teach is to ignite a spark of learning in each one of your minds. Today, we are going to talk about gardens, but more specifically, we are going to observe the different parts of plants and what plants need to grow. Let's get started. Before we get started, I want you to think about what you see when you go to your garden. What do you see? All right, shout your answer out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and oh my goodness. So you could see dirt, you could see grass, you could see worms, you could see plants, maybe some flowers, or maybe a rock. Great job, guys. Okay, now, what kinds of plants do you know of? What kinds of plants do you know? All right, I want you to think, and you're gonna shout your answer out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and oh my goodness. So maybe you know of a tree. Maybe you know of a flower. Maybe you know different types of trees and different types of flowers. Maybe you know of moss. Maybe you know grass. And maybe you even know ivy, the plant that gets to trail up. It goes up buildings and up trees. Great job, guys. Okay, I have one more question for you to think of. Actually, we have 2 more questions. Our first one is, what parts of plants can you think of? What are the different types of plants that you can think of? All right, you're gonna shout your answer out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and oh my goodness, y'all know so many parts of plants. And if you don't know any parts of plants, that's okay. We are going to talk about the 5 main parts of plants in just a little bit. All right, and my last question for our beginning of our lesson is, what do you think plants need to grow? Okay, so what do you think plants have to have so that they can grow? All right, I want you to shout your answer out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and whoa, you know so many things that help make plants grow. And if you don't, that's okay. We are going to talk about the 4 main things that plants need to grow. All right, let's get started on our observations. Before we can begin our observations, we have to talk about 2 important vocabulary words. Our first is the stem. Okay, I want you to say the word stem. Good job. So our stem is the main structure of a plant that holds it straight up and down. It's what supports the plant and makes it stay strong and high. The stem also moves side to side to let it get to the sun or to get to light. Okay, so we have the stem, and the stem is the main part of the plant that helps it stay strong and supports it, and it also helps it find sunlight. All right, our second one is roots. All right, I want you to say the word roots. Okay, so roots are the part of the plant that go under the soil or the dirt, and it helps it stay right in its place. Stays right on in the ground. The roots also grow really long and wide because they are looking for water and food for the plant. So the roots grow really, really far and really, really wide so they can get the plant water and nutrients. Okay, so those are our 2 important vocabulary words for today. They are stem, which is the main part of the plant that keeps it straight and tall, and it also helps it get sunlight. And we also have roots, and roots keep the plant stable and on the ground and in the ground, and helps it travel and find food and water by traveling. The roots grow and they travel, and they can travel really, really far or really, really long. Alrighty, so now we get to start our observation on the different parts of plants and what plants need to grow. Alrighty, the first part in today's experiment is to observe the different parts of a plant. There are 5 main parts of a plant. They are the roots, the stem, the leaves, the flowers, and the seeds. So those are our 5 main important parts of a plant. The first one we're going to talk about is the roots. We kind of already talked about what the definition is, and the roots keep the plant in the ground, in the soil or the dirt, and they help the plant to also collect food and water. Today, I have a little snake plant, and he is in some water, but I brought him so that you could see his roots. So he is not in dirt or soil, he's actually just in water, and that is helping him grow. But I'm going to kind of turn him around so you can see him a little bit better. So the little white things that are sticking out of the plant are called the roots. So if he was in dirt, those roots would keep growing so they could find water and nutrients, which is the food. So those are his roots. Alrighty. So his roots help him or any other plant stay into the ground and find food and water by traveling and growing really, really long. The second part of our plant is called the stem. The stem helps the plant stay nice and tall, and it supports it. It also helps it to find some sunlight. So sometimes the stem moves side to side to help the plant grab sunlight. So to show you a stem, I have this little friend of ours, and his stem is this long green part that goes all the way up. So sometimes he has to bend different ways so that he can get some sunlight. So his stem is this green part that goes all the way up. So the stem helps support the plant, and sometimes it moves from side to side so that it can get sunlight. Our third part of our plant are the leaves. The leaves grow really big so they can get lots of sunlight to make food for our plant. So this is a pothos, and he has nice big leaves, and those leaves get a lot of sunlight, and inside that leaf, it's making food for the plant. Isn't that really cool? So the leaves are actually making food right in there. All right, so these are his leaves. So the leaves grow really big, and they collect sunlight to make food for the plant. Our fourth part of a plant is the flower. Some plants do not specifically have flowers, but some do. So I have a dandelion right here, and the flower is this yellow part of our flower. And he is opening up, and that's how we can see all the pretty colors. So the flower part of flowers, and some plants have flowers, actually holds the seeds and brings in bees or birds to either pollinate, which means kind of give it a little more nutrients to grow, or the birds take the seeds and they travel with the seeds so that the seeds can grow into new plants. Now, the last part of our flower or our plant is the seeds. I don't have any seeds with me right now because all of my seeds are planted, but the seeds are important to help grow new plants. So now we are going to build a plant on our board right here. So we have to think in our minds what the 5 different parts of our flower or plant are. Now, before we begin, we're going to name them off. All right, our first one we talked about were the things that go into the ground and they grow really, really, really long to help find water and food for the plant. Okay, so what do you think those were called? All right, shout your answer out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, the roots. Good job. Right, our second part of our flower was the thing that helped support the flower. It was long and tall, and it also helps move this plant closer to sunlight. Right, what was that part of our plant called? Call it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, it was the stem. Great job. And our third part of our plant that we talked about were the parts of the plant that grow kind of big and they go off of the stem and they collect sunlight and make food for the plant. What was that part of our plant called? All right, shout out your answer in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, it was the leaves. Good job. Alrighty, our fourth part of our plant was the part that blooms and it's really colorful and it attracts the bees and the birds. Right, what was that part of our plant called? Right, it was the flower. Great job. And our fifth and final part of our flower were the little bitty things that grow new plants. Okay, shout your answer out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, those were the seeds. Great job. All right, now we are going to build our plant on the board. Alrighty, now it is time for us to build a plant together. The first thing that we talked about, or the first part of our plant, was the roots. Good job. So to represent our roots, I have some string and I got different sizes because they like to grow really, really long and really, really far. So we are going to put our root on the board like this, closer to the bottom, because the root likes to be at the bottom of the plant. So I'm going to spread some of the roots out because they like to grow and gather some food. So you can kind of see he's spread out a little bit. And then one more. I'm going to kind of spread the roots apart. Alrighty, so you can see we have some roots at the bottom of our plant. Now, what was the next part of our plant? The thing that was really, really tall, the stem. Good job. And what are the things called that are connected to the stem? The leaves. Great job. So we have a big stem and some leaves. So we are actually going to stick our stem and leaves right where the roots are because the stem and the leaves go right where the roots are. Stick one more in. All right, so we have roots, we have a stem, and we have 2 leaves on our plant. Now, what was the part that blooms and it's on top of our stem? It is the flower. Great job. So we have a big purple flower, and we are going to stick him right on top of the stem. I'm going to put one more in so he doesn't move on us. Alrighty, so we have a big flower on top of our stem. Now, what goes in the middle of our flower? What does the flower hold? Those little tiny things that when you plant them or when birds take them, they like to grow new plants. Those are called the seeds. Great job. So to represent our seeds, I have a yellow circle and these black, almost circle little things are the seeds. I'm going to stick that right in the middle of our flower. Now we get to label our plant. So I have some fun little words that we can label our plant. So I am going to pick one and it's going to be a random one and we are going to get to figure out where it goes on our plant. So our first word is stem. Is this the stem? No. Is the bottom of our plant the stem, where it goes in the soil? No. Is this long part that supports the flower the stem? Yes, good job. So I am going to put the word stem right by our flower. Now we have the word roots. We have the word roots. Where does the roots go? Is the roots these black parts of the flower? No. Are the roots these green parts that come off of the stem? No. Are the roots the bottom part that grow and keep the flower or the plant in the ground? Yes. So I am going to put the word roots at the bottom of our plant. Good job, guys. Alrighty, now we have the word flower. The word flower. Is the flower these green things that come off of the stem that collect sunlight to make food? No. What about the black things that make new plants? No. Is it the purple thing that blossoms and attracts birds and bees? Yes, great job. So the flower is going to be up at the top. So we got the word flower. Alrighty, we have two more words. This word is seeds. Are the seeds these green parts off the stem that collect sunlight to make food? No. Are the seeds the black parts that make new plants? Yes, good job. So I'm going to put the word seeds up at the top of our flower. Now our last word is leaves. Our last word is leaves. Are the leaves the parts of the plant that get sunlight and make food? Yes, good job. So the leaves were the last parts on our flower. So let's recap and let's take a better look at our plant that we made. So at the bottom, we have roots. Then we have a stem. Then we have two leaves and a big purple flower. And in the middle, we have the black seeds. Great job, guys. So we just built a flower. Now let's talk about what plants need to grow. Now we're going to talk about the four main important things that plants need to grow. The first is obvious. It's something that you have to pour into the plant. Water. So water is very important for plants to grow. The next thing that you have to have most of the time for plants to grow is soil or dirt. So the soil and the dirt is what helps the roots go and keep the plant in the ground. So especially in your garden, you need lots of good soil for that plant to grow. The next thing that plants need to grow is sun. Sun helps the plant grow tall and helps it make food with the water. The last thing that plants need to grow is air. So air does two things. One, it helps move the plant around to help those roots become really, really strong to keep the plant in ground. It also helps move the seeds to new locations to grow new plants. So the plants need four things. The first one is water. The second is soil. The third is sun. And the fourth is air. Now that we learned about the different parts of plants and what plants need, we are going to read a book called Dandelions, Stars in the Grass. It's written and illustrated by Mia Posada. I know that some people call it a weed, but to me, the dandelion is a noble breed. Bright yellow petals adorn each one, spreading out like rays of sun. In spring, dandelions bloom like gold stars in the grass, growing taller and taller as the warm days pass. Under sunny summer skies, the flowers are visited by bees and butterflies. The flowers begin to change one summer day. Their bright yellow petals fold up and fall away. In place of petals emerge fluffy tufts of white. They form a perfect circle, delicate and light. The wind blows them loose, sweeping them into the sky. Like tiny umbrellas, they float up high. Every flying tuft the wind has freed carries with it a tiny seed. The tufts float on the wind until falling to rest. A nice grassy hillside is what they like best. Into the soil a seed snuggles down, slender new roots tunnel deep underground. Fragile green leaves begin to grow, sprouting up from the earth below. Look closely and you'll find round buds of green, but bright yellow petals are yet to be seen. As summer moves on, sunny and warm, seeds become flowers. New dandelions form. The end. Our story was Dandelions, Stars in the Grass by Mia Posada. Now we are going to make our very own dandelion. Alrighty, so we just read a book about dandelions, so let's make our very own. So the first thing I need you to do is ask your grown-up if you can use some materials that you will find around the house. And if you need to find the directions and the materials list, you can go to WQLN.org under our at-home learning activity. So we are going to need a few materials. So the first thing you're going to need to grab is a cotton ball. Then you need to grab some Q-tips. I have about 5 or 6, but just get as many as you can. I wouldn't get too many. I wouldn't get many over 6. You also are going to need some glue, a green pipe cleaner, or if you have a green straw, or if you don't have either of those, you can just use a marker, a green marker. You also are going to need some paper. I would prefer you not to get white because you won't be able to see our white dandelion, but if you have white, that's okay. And some scissors. So the first thing we are going to do is collect all of our materials, and then we're going to take our paper and we are going to get our glue ready, and we are going to put a dab of glue on the top of our page. So I have a dab of glue on the top of our page. Then I'm going to fluff out my cotton ball, just kind of pull it apart a little bit to make it a little bit bigger. And then I am going to put that right on top of the glue. So we have a cotton ball and some glue. The next thing we are going to do is we are going to use our scissors to cut our Q-tip in half. So you might want to ask your grown-up to help you because they are really hard to cut. So what I like to do is I like to put my scissors and then just kind of bend it and they come right off. So I have already cut 2. I'm going to cut the rest of my Q-tips And if you don't have any scissors, you could probably just bend, oh, yep, they just bent. Just bend them right in half. Then you don't have to use any scissors. So get your Q-tip and just bend it right in half. Don't need to use any scissors. So now what we're gonna do is we are gonna get our glue, and we are going to put glue dots all the way around our cotton ball so that we can connect the Q-tip to the cotton ball. Should look something like that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take my glue, and honestly, I'm just gonna make a big circle all the way around. So it should look something like this. And then I am gonna take my Q-tips and stick them right in the glue. So I'm sticking them right in the glue. So this way, our Q-tips are gonna look like the parts of the dandelion that carry the seeds. So get a couple more. I need some more glue. And if you want, you can actually put glue right on the Q-tip to see how that would hold. Alrighty, so I've got my Q-tips glued. Now we have to add a stem for our dandelion. So if you do not have a green pipe cleaner or a green straw, you can just take a green marker or a green crayon and just draw a stem from the dandelion straight down. Alrighty, so I'm gonna take my glue and I'm gonna make a straight line down my page, and I'm gonna stick my pipe cleaner right on top of the glue. So it should look like this. So that is all I'm going to do to my dandelion today. But if you wanted, you could add some sun, maybe some grass, maybe some soil, or maybe even some roots to your dandelion. Well, I hope you get to participate on this at-home learning activity and you get to make your very own dandelion. Well, I hope you enjoyed our lesson on observing the different parts of plants and learning what plants need to grow. Before we go, let's talk about those 5 different parts of our plant. So we have the parts that are at the very, very bottom that grow in the dirt and like to collect water and nutrients, which are called the roots. Great job. And then our second part is the long part that is strong and it supports our plant and also helps it move side to side to find sunlight, which is called the stem. Great job. And then we have the parts that come off the stem that collect sunlight and make food, which are called the leaves. Awesome. Then we have the big colorful part that attracts bees and birds, which is called the flower. Great job. And our last part of our plant is the black little things that go off and they like to make new plants, which are called the seeds. Good. Those are our 5 parts of our plant. Now let's talk about the 4 important things that plants need. First thing they need is the thing that you pour in that gives them water. Good. Plants need water. They also need something that comes down and it's really, really bright in the sky. Sun or light. Great job. The third thing that plants need, it's on the floor outside, and it kind of lets the roots stay down. It's called the soil, which gives them some nutrients. And the last thing they need, it helps them move side to side, and it also takes their seeds away, which is the air. Great job. Well, as always, keep reading, keep watching, keep learning. WQLN PBS, where learning is brought to life.